There's a big reason I haven't reviewed the Nest Learning Thermostat 4th generation before now, and I bet you can guess what it is. Yep, the big reason is the big price tag. I just couldn't justify the spend. Nest Learning Thermostat 4th generation is the newest, smartest, most beautiful, and arguably the most coveted home thermostat you can buy. But what makes it worth the hefty cost? Around $279 US or $379 Canadian. And how long before you might see energy savings?
In this review, I'm finally going to try it out and see if I can figure it out. I'll show you what it's like to install, what you can do with it, and how you program it, as well as how the learning portion of it works. I'll wrap things up with both the pros and the cons of this device so you can see if it might be worth an upgrade for you. Now, the reason I finally got my hands on one of these thermostats is actually thanks to ADT. I recently reviewed the ADT Plus Smart Home and Security System, and the brand new Nest thermostat was included in my package, so I opted to review the thermostat at the same time. To be clear, the ADT system was on loan to me, and neither ADT nor Google had any input into this review.
So what are you getting here? Simply put, this is a wireless thermostat that's programmable and adjustable both on the device and with Google's Home app, but the secret sauce is in the learning component.
The Nest thermostat relies on sensors that analyze your habits, and then it'll use built-in smarts to build a schedule around those habits to maximize both comfort and energy savings.
Just don't confuse this product with the 4th generation Nest thermostat I reviewed back in 2020, because that thermostat targets budget shoppers who don't need all the tech features, and it doesn't have the learning component. With the Learning Thermostat 4th generation, there's a few updates and improvements, so let's take a closer look at what's in the very expensive box. This is a nice experience with a surprise extra in here. Not only do you get the thermostat with its very beautiful convex mirror-like display, but you also get a pebbly 2nd generation Nest temperature sensor for placing elsewhere in the house, and we'll get to more on that coming up. You also get a mounting bracket for hooking up the wires, and this bracket is exclusive to this model, which means if you're hoping to update an older Nest thermostat, you do need to swap the mount too. There is also an optional back plate, which is handy in case you have to cover a bigger hole in the wall. Finally, you get the mounting hardware. I do want to touch on the design specifically here because the newest iteration does make it harder to criticize Google's asking price. Harder. The screen has a shiny reflective finish, and it has a practically invisible bezel. Once you get it mounted to the wall, it actually looks like it's floating there, so that's pretty magic. You'll notice the crisp text presented on the 600 by 600 resolution crystal LCD display. Now sure, the pixel count isn't technically high definition, but for a screen measuring just 2.7 inches in diameter, the text is very easy to read. It's also a substantial improvement over its predecessor, which had a smaller 2-inch display and 480 by 480 resolution.
The stylish design might not impress those function over form folks, especially when budget is tight, but Google did make a clever play by integrating a special radar sensor which powers what's called the new dynamic far sight feature.
When enabled, the display will adjust the on-screen information depending on your distance from it. You can customize that info right from the display or in the Google Home app, so you can, for instance, have the thermostat double as either a digital or analog clock. As you get closer to it, you'll see more details or another widget of your choosing pop up, and if nobody's near the thermostat, the screen will just go dark. The minimalist design might even fool you into thinking the thermostat is a touch screen, but like other Nest thermostat models, touch support on the screen is completely missing. Instead, you'll push the thermostat face towards the wall to activate it and then twist to make adjustments.
I'll briefly go over the high-level steps of the installation, but don't mistake this for a detailed how-to. If you do want some more detailed instructions, search my channel for how to install Nest thermostat. I've got a video about that. A couple of small caveats as well. Smart thermostats may not be compatible with all home heating and cooling systems, so it's best to use Google's compatibility checker before you get to this point. The second thing is that it's definitely possible for anyone to swap out a thermostat. The first time you do it might be a little bit unfamiliar, but Google actually gives you pretty great instructions and support to make it a lot easier.
In a nutshell, you'll need to download the Google Home app and sign into or sign up for it. Turn off the power to your furnace and remove your old thermostat faceplate. Be sure to label the wires before you remove them from their locations, and Google does include tiny sticker labels for this. Install the back plate if you're using it, and then mount the new Nest Learning Thermostat bracket into place. Carefully re-enter the wires to their appropriate locations, then attach the new thermostat faceplate. If everything is correct, it should power up immediately, and from there, just follow the steps in the Google Home app to get the thermostat connected. Because the smooth pebble-like temperature sensor is included in here as well, you will have the extra step of getting that connected in the app, which takes just a second or two.
Then you want to place your sensor in a different location in your home, ideally a good distance away or on a different floor from where the thermostat is. The sensor is going to help equalize the temperature across the spaces of the house, and you can mount it with the wall hook on the back or just sit it on a surface. The thermostat will actually support up to 6 sensors placed around larger spaces, so you can really fine-tune your heating and cooling across the whole home.
Once you're set up, one of the first things you should do is set your base temperatures. Google refers to these as your comfort and sleep temperatures.
Google will actually do this for you if you opt to skip this step, but I highly recommend it because Google's default temperatures tend to favor eco savings over comfort. After about a week, I found the preset temperatures were a bit on the uncomfortable side for my liking, so I did go in and change them.
The Nest Learning Thermostat 4th generation also has settings for Eco Mode, which will lower your energy use when no one is in the house, and it has custom temperatures where you can even adjust the temperatures day by day or hour by hour.
I will say that making adjustments to these core temperature settings is incredibly easy in the Google Home app. Of course, if you prefer, you can manually create your own daily schedules and temperature adjustments too. But what I would say is if that's what you're angling for, you could probably trade down to a different Nest model at a lower price tag. One of the things you are paying for here is the ability for the Nest thermostat to learn your routines and to start to make adjustments to help you save on energy bills. So ideally, you want to be patient enough to let it do its job.
All the core features I'll talk about next are exclusive to the Nest Learning Thermostat 4th generation model, and let these serve as kind of a guide in deciding if you think you should upgrade an older Nest Learning thermostat or perhaps consider the cheaper Nest thermostat instead if none of these core features appeal to you.
If AI was on your Nest thermostat bingo card, you are totally on the money since Google implemented AI in its Smart Scheduling feature. Smart Schedule, in a nutshell, allows your thermostat to learn from adjustments you make throughout the day to optimize your schedule overall.
There are 3 options for Smart Schedule. Automatic lets Smart Schedule make the changes, and it'll just send you a notification via the Google Home app so you know what changes were made. You can use Suggestions, where you'll receive a suggestion in the Google Home app and you can choose to accept or reject it, or you can turn this off. To switch between automatic and suggestion mode or to turn off Smart Schedule altogether, look for the Smart Schedule in the Temperature Preferences settings. The thermostat uses a motion sensor to detect if anyone's home, and it may switch modes on its own if it doesn't pick up on motion near the thermostat. You can also link in other Google devices here for this, like a Google Nest Home Hub with a camera to be part of the observation team, so you're not just relying on the thermostat to see your movements. You can also opt for presets and motion sensing to be tied to your smartphone instead. If the phone leaves the house, the thermostat knows you're gone.
Neither of these is a perfect solution. With motion sensing, if you happen to be in one area of the house and you don't pass by the thermostat or a Google device, it may mistakenly think you're not home. I found using the motion sensor on the thermostat alone wasn't incredibly effective because if I was sitting down in my office for a few hours to work, Nest would switch the temperatures to the slightly less comfortable eco option when in fact I was at home. Similarly, if I didn't have a Google Nest screen in the room where I was, it still didn't know I was home. On the flip side though, if you opt to use your phone, this is actually a much more reliable monitor, but the problem is whoever has custody of the Nest thermostat in their Google Home app gets to be the canary in the coal mine when it comes to the temperature. So if you leave and a spouse is at home, manual temperature adjustments might be necessary.
Remember the learning keyword here, since the thermostat will get smarter as it learns your preferences based on both your initial settings, and it will also take into account any adjustments you might make manually throughout the learning period, and it's going to factor all of that into the settings that it'll apply for you.
The 4th generation Nest Learning Thermostat has a couple of newer features too. One is Humidity Helper. This is a pair of intelligence features that can help adjust the humidity in your home. It uses what Google refers to as cool to dry, and that's how you'll see it in the app, to help reduce excessive humidity in your house using your air conditioner.
From what I can tell, it uses the air conditioner to pull excess moisture out of your home, but even Google notes in its app that this can be expensive and it may cool the home beyond the set temperature.
Smart ventilation is a cool new feature for ventilation system owners where the Nest Learning Thermostat can check the outdoor air quality and intelligently instruct your ventilation system to bring in air only during healthier conditions. This is great if you live in a very dusty or forest fire prone area.
Fourth generation Nest Learning Thermostat comes with Matter support too if you've opted into that smart home system.
Those are the major new features, but of course one of the great things about choosing a Google Nest device is it will integrate into your larger Google Smart Home. This means you get the addition of voice control for your thermostat.
Hey Google, set hallway thermostat to 22.5 degrees.
Set to 22.5 degrees.
I absolutely love this aspect of the Nest Learning Thermostat 4th generation. It is so easy for me just to call out to my Google speaker and ask for a temperature adjustment. The response of this is immediate, and it means I don't need to dig for my phone and tap through the app. Once your Nest Learning Thermostat 4th Gen is installed and configured, there's not really much for you to do at all. While it's encouraged for you to make any adjustments you might want, particularly during the learning phase, once the thermostat gets a handle on your preferences and habits, it should take care of the rest. And ultimately, that should mean it's able to dial back energy usage at night when you're sleeping or whenever you're outside the home.
One of the most common questions I get asked about smart thermostats is how long will it take for me to start saving money? After all, that's one of the major selling features of a lot of these devices, right? And the answer is there is no clear answer. A lot of the savings comes down to how much you're willing to let the thermostat keep you outside of a comfortable temperature and for how long, as well as how often you might be out of the house and how often that might allow the thermostat to change the temperature to save you energy. I've seen articles say that you can expect about a 10 to 15% annual savings, but chances are you won't be able to notice this for at least a couple of months.
Overall, whether the Nest Learning Thermostat 4th generation might be a good choice for you comes down to a few key questions. The first one is, do you already have a smart or programmable thermostat?
If the answer is yes, this might not be worth the upgrade. The next key question would be if you really need to use a couple of the newer features like smart ventilation or Humidity Helper.
The third key question is, do you want to spend money on a cooler looking gadget? If the answer to that one is yes, then you'll find this is the most stylish. The $279 asking price would be money well spent because you're really paying for that design and the included Nest temperature sensor, which is about a $39 US or $49 Canadian value.
The fourth question would be whether you're willing to let Google's intelligence manage your climate for you. If you're up for waiting out the learning period and then letting the thermostat adjust things for you, this is easily one of the most advanced thermostats on the market today. If you're more of a tinkerer or you want to be very specific about temperatures and times of day, you're probably better off getting one of the Nest thermostats without the learning features. Let's go over both the pros and the cons of this device, though, to see if it might be right for you.
On the pro side, it's gorgeous, period. It's easily the nicest and most elegant piece of technology you can buy. It's easy to install, easy to set up, and easy to schedule in the Google Home app. With the learning features, you don't have to do much beyond setting your baseline temps, and Google does the rest. The customizable display is cool, and the push and twist controls on the device are satisfyingly easy to use. Plus, it's got voice control when used with Google Nest smart speakers. So what are the potential downsides? I'll wrap up where I started off, and that's with the price. This thermostat is not an insignificant cash investment, and I think a lot of people will be waiting for it to go on sale. With a base price of $279 US or $379 Canadian, it is definitely spendy.
After spending a couple of weeks with it, one of the only other downsides I found is that this might be more of a Ferrari solution to a Ford level problem, in that it's got a lot of smarts and extra features like the smart ventilation. So if you're not going to take advantage of those aspects, you can definitely trade down.
It is also important to understand that while these devices are touted as monthly bill savers, the energy you save to justify the cost of this device might take a lot longer to materialize.
But as long as you're aware of that stuff going in and you've got the cash to spend, you're probably really going to enjoy having a Nest Learning Thermostat 4th generation in your home. And if you do want to check out some other thermostat options, you can see the less expensive Nest thermostat or see what competitor Ecobee is offering right now.